Hello everyone, I'm Big Cat. Starting with this lesson, we are going to perfect the state machine. This lesson refers the animation associated with the character in the unarmed state. Open the Amen graph in my Amen blueprint. Rename the state machine we created in the previous lesson to local motion. Connect the state machine to the output port. Compile. After compiling, a warning will appear warning as that this is an empty state machine. Double-click to open the state machine. Enter BS underline in the resource search field. Drag into the normal stand blank space. Double-click. Set the direction and speed. Connect the entry to the normal stand. Compile. After compiling is complete, you can see the character begin to perform the normal stand animation. Return to the state machine. Click on the Animation Preview Edit panel. All the variables can be set in this panel to see changes in the character action state without running the game. Set the speed to 160. You can see the character starts to play the working animation based on the speed value. Set the direction to -90. You can see that the character modifies the direction based on the direction value. So during the process of making our state machine, we can test the state machine for problems in this way. Revert the speed value and direction value. Next, we make from standing to crouching. Drag in the normal crouch. Double-click. Set direction and speed values. Connect the normal stand to normal crouch. We can see that there's an icon here, and this icon means execute conditions. Double-click on the icon, and we see that we have entered the rule from normal stand to normal crouch. Drag into the is crouching variable. Connect. Go back to the state machine. Click on the Animation Preview Edit panel. Compile. Set the crouch to true. You can see that the animation now performs to the crouch position. Connect normal crouch to normal stand. Double-click to enter the rule edit. From crouch to stand, you need to determine when the crouch is false. Compile. Uncheck the begin crouched state. You can see that the character changes to a standing position. Next, create the standing to prone animation. Drag into the normal prone blank space. Double-click. Set the direction and speed values. Transition animations are needed, whether you are going from standing to prone or from crouching to prone. Search for the transition animation from stand to prone. Drag in the normal stand to prone. Remove the AS to save space. Connect the normal stand to transition animation. Double-click. To go from standing to prone, determine when pause is true. Connect the transition animation to the prone blank space. Double-click. Here, you need to determine when the transition is finished and start playing the prone blank space. Use the time remaining node. This node returns the number of seconds left until the end of the animation. When the time is less than or equal to 0.3 seconds, the animation is considered to have finished playing. Compile. Back to the state machine. In the Animation Preview Edit panel, set the prone state to true. You can see that the character has executed the transition from standing to prone first. When the transition animation is finished, the prone blank space is executed. Drag into the normal prone to stand animation. Remove the AS. Connect the prone blank space to the transition animation. Double-click. To go from prone to standing up, you need to determine when the prone is false. Connect the transition animation to the standing blank space. Double-click. The rule is executed when 0.3 seconds remaining in the animation. Compile. Set the prone state to false. You can see that the character first executed the transition from prone to standing. Search for the transition animation from crouch to prone. Drag in the transition animation from crouching to prone. Remove the AS to save space. Connect the normal crouch to transition animation. Double-click. From standing to prone, determine when the prone is true. Connect the transition animation to the prone blank space. Double-click. Execute when 0.3 seconds remaining in the animation. Return to the state machine interface. Compile. Set the crouch state to true. Set the prone to true. you can see that the character has executed the transition from crouch to point first. Drag into the normal point to crouch animation. Remove the AS. Connect the point blank space to the transition animation. Double-click. To go from prone to standing, we need to determine when the prone is false. Since this uses the same prone blank space as the stand to prone, you need to determine the current crouching state here. Open the prone to stand rule. Here, we need to add a rule to determine that we are not currently crossing. Connect the transition animation to the crouch blank space. Double-click. Execute the rule when there are 0.3 seconds left in the animation. Compile. Set the crouch state to true. Set the prone state to true. Set the prone state to false. You can see that the character first performs the transition from prone to crouching, and then performs the crouching blank space when the transition animation is finished. Right-click. Select Add Comment. Reset the comment box. In this lesson, we created the animation treatment related to the character in the unarmed state. That is for this lesson. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next lesson.